I don't know about you, but in our family, and certainly in my life, I've had some times I look back over and I think, I've lost some things at times, and it was so valuable that it warranted an all-out search. My guess is that you've experienced some of that from time to time. One of those took place just not too long ago, and Joel's down there smiling at this point because it involves him. I want you to know I asked permission to tell this story. But it happened on one of those days where our family was just going 100 different directions. I was fishing. Carol was taking Micah to a friend's house and kind of working with some things with Micah and Levi. And Joel had a track meet that was quite a ways away, and so neither of us was at the meet. We were just going crazy. Communication wasn't real strong that day. And one of the things that we had really failed to communicate is, how is Joel going to get home? Once he gets back to high school, what's our plan for Joel getting home and getting picked up and all of that? So Joel's on his way home. He calls me on my cell phone. I'm out on the lake, and says, "Dad, is someone going to be coming to pick us up because we're going to be there not very long?" I said, "Well, I'm out on the lake," now really taking responsibility for the situation. And I'm out on the lake, but Mom's home. Give her a call, okay? So Joel tries to call Carol, but she's taking Levi. Now he's Micah. He's pretty resourceful. And so he decides, well, I'm just going to get a ride home on my own. So he does that, and he gets home. There's only one problem. There's no one home. Now, he can get into the garage, but the door into the house is locked. So there he is. There's no one home. No one's coming home. He waits for a little while. No one's there. And so, he does probably what I would do. He took off, went over to someone's house. Now, we get home, we don't think really anything is a big deal, except for we walk into the garage, we know Joel's been home because his track bag is there. So I'm thinking, well, there was no one here, so he went over to someone's house, we'll see him pretty soon. It gets a little later, about an hour goes by, I'm in the middle of cleaning fish, Carol comes out, says, "Where's Joel?" She doesn't know where he's at, I don't know where he's at, and I think, okay, because it's about to get dark now, and we haven't seen Joel for quite a while. So we go into the house. Now, at this point, you have to understand something. I think you can relate to this. Joel's extremely valuable to us. We love him. And so we're concerned at this point. But we start a search. So we start calling his friends. We call a few family members. And no one knows. They have no idea. They don't know who Joel rode home with. They don't know anything about it. And so finally, you have to understand, it is now 10:30 at night. We haven't heard from him. We have no idea where he's at. And I'm telling you, folks, at that point, you know what happened that really started intensifying the search? We found out that his head track coach had brought him home hours earlier, but he had no idea where he was at now. Now, you know what I did at that point? I did something that no teenager ever wants to hear that their parents did. You know what it was? You can probably guess. I called 911. I literally called 911. And I spoke to the police. And you know what? I told them the whole story. They acted a little concerned. So now we're really concerned. And your heart is starting to beat, and you're starting to pray, and you're very concerned at this point. Now, you can tell Joel's here, so this story has a happy ending. For more than one reason. Because when he finally called, at that point, I was excited that he called, but I wasn't sure when I saw him whether I was going to hug him or kill him. But he finally called. And the reality is he had been over at a friend's house. He had called, and somehow our machine had not picked up. And so he had done what he needed to do. But I share that story this morning to say, why were we going to all of that effort? It's because what was lost was so incredibly valuable that it warranted an all-out search. I was even willing to endure the embarrassment myself, or Joel's embarrassment, in order to make sure that he was safe and then he would be home. And you see, that's really what Jesus was saying to the religious leaders. He's saying, why am I here? Is because you've never seen a person on planet Earth. You've never looked at a single person that isn't so valuable to the Father that he wouldn't send his own son to die for them.